Greetings, fellow weapon specialists. Radamon here. Thank you for tuning in to The Last Starship, Episode 2, Installing Weapons for Ship-to-Ship Combat. Bring all the recovered wreckage and black box flight recorders back to me for analysis on board my ship, the Vanguard, to complete the contract. Okay. Well, the first one is relatively easy. There is the wreckage in this NG2 colony, so we'll grab that first. Because we know all we're doing is picking up wreckage. And I'm creating a designated ship wreckage zone here. Alright. I also want to do a little bit of trade. I want to buy... let's see. No, I have 5 spacesuits. Never mind. So, collect wreckage. They're sending the recovered wreckage to your ship, the Scorpio, now. It will arrive soon by shuttle. You will need to store it somewhere on board. Once you collect all the ship wreckage, bring it to me, as well as the flight recorders. And what's happening here is there's a limited amount of space at the end of this docking port. So the closer you have storage to the docking port, the easier it will be to, you know, bring everything aboard. Okay, only 20 left to collect. And I could have raced through this with time controls. There we go. Alright, I'm going to immediately bring this back to Harkin. Actually, let's go get the other flight recorders instead. It would not be a bad idea for me to get a few more FTL charges. And then... our food and water are fine. Our fuel's fine. Yeah, just food and water. So I'm going to buy FTL charges, and then I'm going to go ahead and sell some stuff. So I'm going to sell the scrap metal that we have, the frames that we have, the lenses that we have, because I don't need that. And I'm going to sell the partially filled deuterium, scrap metal, and metal ingots, because we don't need that either. Which is about 10k. All right. Jump into the Celestial Hauler. And there's a meteor shower here, so that's sketchy. We gotta get a move on, or we're gonna get blown up. So this is definitely one of those cases where we're gonna want to grab the flight recorder and then just boogie out of here. Looking at it, it looks like it's mostly space debris. There's a few boxed things which you might stick around for, but it's probably just ingots. Probably not all that special. Now, if you're wondering, there are Gatling guns you can install on the ship to help shoot down things, incoming projectiles that are gonna do you harm. I just don't have any, so it's kind of moot. And you can see the logistics drones are already getting shot out the bay to go collect some... ooh, yeah, we took a hit. And up here in the top, you can see toughness and hull. So we took some damage. And you can repair some of the damage with logistics drones and crew, but you can't do a complete repair outside of going to a shipyard. So here, as you can see, we grabbed, like, metal ingot. We grabbed some frame, the flight recorder, some frames, some fuel. And we just narrowly avoided that hit. It hit the wrecked ship instead. So I'm staying here just to try to collect the more valuable stuff, because it's probably going to be worth more than the repair bill of repairing a hull. And then once the nicer stuff is being collected, frames and the like, we'll get out of here. We're also picking up bullets, cannon shells, railgun slugs. We avoided that hit too. Alright, I'm going to say that's enough. So, next jump will be the Infinite Horizon. Another ship in distress. And here, you have a warning of how many drones are deployed. And once you don't have that warning anymore, you know that all drones are aboard. So here's the Infinite Horizon and a Scavenger Wraith that beat us to the punch. Got my hands on something you might be looking for. A recording of the screams and static from the ship's final moments. You want it. I know it. Scavenger's Rights says it's mine. Luckily for you, you can have it, your precious data, so long as I get my finder's fee. It'll cost you 20k for the secrets. Cross me and it will be the last mistake you make. I'll pay him. Funds received. Pleasure doing business. We'll drop your flight recorder out the cargo hold and be on our way. And there it is. And we now have it. And the rest of the stuff here is just like scrap metal. They picked over the good stuff. So let's be on our way back to Commander Harkin. But NG-14 shipyard is in our way, so we're going to jump there first. Drones are not yet aboard. Yeah, now they're aboard. Aligning. And jumping. Alright, I am going to repair for 6k the damage done to our hull due to the asteroid strikes. And then we have a boxed up docking port that we can sell. We have a boxed up science station, which I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep the bolts, cannon shells, and railguns. I'm going to sell the scrap metal. Sell the anything partials down here. It's not a lot of money. So the reason I'm keeping the science station is we're probably going to want one eventually. So we can start to do research. In fact, how about we hire someone for that now? I'm going to hire a scientist. Well, I'm going to wait until this mission's over, actually. So let's complete this mission for Harkin, and then we'll start to do science. And I'm not going to jump yet, because we're still trading, selling the stuff. There we go. Now we're all set. Okay. Delivering to Harkin. I'm going to fast forward time, because it's a lot of stuff that needs to go onto their ship. Done. And all of the Sheeps and Wolf Clothing story mission 1 is now complete. Mindsteddle, thank you for the resub. And yeah, time does go quick. We analyzed the black box recordings, and the evidence is already pretty clear. There's a pirate vessel out there somewhere, preying on high-value commercial vessels. They wait in silence until the ship is alone, isolated, and defenseless. They come out of nowhere and attack without warning, and before anyone can respond, they've destroyed the ship and looted the cargo. Most likely to be sold for vast profits to the Stargate Project, who don't seem keen to ask questions. So far, they haven't left a single living witness, but the sensor data tells the full story. We've managed to extract another sensor image of the attacker. It's another grainy photograph, but it's all we have to go on. This is, without doubt, the vessel responsible for all the death and destruction. We need to find a way to track them down and destroy them. We'll be in touch soon, Captain. In the meantime, we suggest you tend to your ship. If you've taken damage, you can repair the hull at any shipyard. Use the funds we've sent to upgrade your defenses. Got it. So, current priority right now is have a combat-ready ship and run a combat mission. And you name the crew? No. Crew is just crew. They're generic. So I'm going to head over to the shipyard NG-14 again. And now that we're here, I'm going to hire a scientist. I am going to get a... So we already have a science station, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to hire 2 weapons officers and buy 2 cannons, 2 Gatling guns, and then a bunch of cannon shells. So installing. I'm going to put a science station here in the back. Plop it right there. And cable it up. The cannons, on the other hand, I'm gonna install way up front. And then the Gatling guns I'll install up front as well. Other things I want. In habitation, I want to get a... Oh, I don't think they sell them here. No, they don't. So I'm going to have to go somewhere else for them. Additionally, if I'm installing weapons, before I'm combat ready, I'm going to need more power. 1 reactor is not going to cut it. It's not going to be enough. So, let's do some quick non-combat missions. Oh, and here is the new mission from Harkin. Captain, I'm ready to continue our hunt for the pirate vessel. Please meet me in the marked location. I'm not going to do that right now because I have other things I am managing. So I'm going to head over to NG-11. And what I wanted to do is to go to habitation and to buy a CO2 scrubber and a small tank for now. So the oxygen vent, the air duct, does not scrub CO2. So if we want to scrub CO2, that's an entirely different step. And you can convert CO2 back into breathable oxygen eventually. But for now, what I want to do is I want to be collecting the CO2 on this ship so that we don't wow, I can't even say it right now. Asphyxiate. So this scrubber will start pulling CO2 from the atmosphere of the ship and putting it into this small tank. And then later on, when I can afford it, I will hook up the whole filtering system for CO2. Alternatively, if you want to cheese it, once your CO2 small tank is full, you can uninstall it and reinstall it, and it empties it out. But I don't plan on playing that way. All right, so we have Gatling guns. Now, storage. I want to put cannon shells here and here, and then Gatling guns use bullets, so here and here. And then I need to earn a little bit more money for at least 1 more reactor before I enter combat, and ideally maybe like two more batteries. So I'll buy the batteries now, and then the reactor is going to be 100k. I don't need another fuel loader for it because it can rely on the same fuel tank that we currently have. So looking at the contracts, risk rescue. It's spinning out of control, so it's challenging to dock. It'll explode soon. And they're willing to pay 140k. I like the price is right. Spinning out of control seems fine. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Additionally, there's another rescue in the same system. So the one I just accepted, we'll accept both, because, again, they're in the same system. So, the first one, what is the name of the ship? Because we're going to want to get to the ship that's, like, currently exploding. So the one that is spinning is the priority. Does the ship show you how much CO2 is on board? Yes. In fact, how about I demonstrate that? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to overload my CO2 scrubber so that we stop scrubbing, and I'll let the CO2 start building up in the ship, and you'll get a warning about CO2 buildup. For demonstration purposes. Because the game's pretty good at telling you, like, hey, you have a lot of CO2 build on the ship, and if it gets too high, it becomes fatal. Now, before it becomes fatal, if you have enough spacesuits for everybody, they would stick spacesuits on. Speaking of which, I didn't buy new spacesuits for our weapons officers or our scientist. And also, I haven't set up the science. So let's set up science right now. So I'm going to pause the game. Here's the research tree. The first that I want to get... So here's the research tree we got. We got automation, science for reactor efficiency and smelter efficiency. I like that one. I'm probably going to go with that. Drone speed. Our logistics drones go up. That one's good too, but it also requires computational points. So the way the science works here is research is either research points or computational points, and computational points requires a computer to do computations. So I can't do any computational point research right now. So I'm restricted to Andromeda Project Part 1, habitation, logistics, science, and that's it. So I'm going to do science, so that my reactors become a little bit more efficient and my smelters become a little bit more efficient. And that just requires the science station, not the computer, and a scientist. So now our scientist has work to do. Good. All right. Here in the tactical menu, this ship is moving. This ship isn't. So I'm assuming this ship is going to blow up first, because this ship looks stable in orbit. So let's do some rescues. We're already pretty much lined up on it, but what I'll probably end up doing is throttling down once I get there, because I feel like it's moving. If I don't move, it will probably drift away. Cutting throttle. Actually, it's pretty stationary. Oh, we went to the wrong one first. Undock. Move over there quickly. So that was the exploding one that's apparently rotating or something. Try to get there before they die. Did we contribute to the strain of quality of the ship? Nope. We were hired to rescue the crew that's on it. It's a humanitarian mission, not a piracy one. Other things to note, the faster you're moving, and I know my overlay is covering it a little bit, but the faster you're moving, the higher your evasion. So if you're moving quickly, you can actually evade attacks to some degree or another. Shame they don't have shuttles? Yes. You mean the ships we're trying to rescue don't have escape shuttles? Alright, lining up on it. There we go. Having to do little micro movements that keep within the zone. Oh, hello, ball call. What? Are you here to, like, steal my job? What are you even doing here? Undock. I'm gonna wait like a vampire for it to explode. and check out what there is to collect. I really only see space scrap. Don't see anything good. So let's move on and deliver them to NG-10 colony. And that will be a nice payday, I think. Clarence, thank you for the resub. Earn in both contracts. And all the people that I was rescuing obviously were like using up a lot of food and water. My food and water looks fine right now. And there we go. Humanitarian ranking gone up, and we got a lot of money. So let's get another reactor. Actually, hell, let's get two. Two more reactors. I'm gonna install them here and here. Because the back of the ship is like kinda low-key, one of the safest places for stuff that goes boom. And now we can generate more power. So if you open up the power grid, you can see what your reactor supplies, your batteries, and the battery supply stuff. And the reason why we needed more power was when you power up your guns in combat situations, you are going to be using a lot of power. In fact, if I'm about to join another fight, if I want to take a fight mission, I want maybe 2 more cannons, 4 total. So let's do one more rescue mission. Buy a few more guns, because I don't want the combat mission of us fighting someone to be like even. I want to decimate them. I don't want my crew to die. You know, I don't want my ship to explode. So we want to overwhelm them with power. And Snoozer, thank you for the resub too. This ship looks like almost perfectly intact. Are there no towing missions? There are not. However, you can have a mothership docked with smaller ships. So there is the potential for the player to build like a mothership type system, or to have a giant space station that does like mining and refining, paired with like miners and gas collectors that drop off resources. There's a lot of flexibility like that we'll get into in time. So this ship, for instance, is moving a little bit. It's moving towards the front or towards the bow. So if I'm completely stationary, as you can see, it's drifting. And this is when you would want, this is what I was referring to, it's helpful to have 2 docking ports, because if I didn't have this top docking port, it would be basically impossible for me to dock to the shuttle, because if I only had the bottom one and it was actively moving in the opposite direction, I wouldn't be able to dock there. So this is a pretty good indicator of why you would need docking ports on either side of your ship, so that you can match trajectories for docking reasons. Alright, let's go over to NG-11 shipyard. Drop these people off. Buy some guns. So now that we got a little bit more money, come on, give me the money. Is it possible to destroy the ship after you rescue the crew? I suppose you could shoot it, yeah. Alright, we're gonna get 2 more cannons, 2 more weapons officers. And I'm trying to plug these in such a way that, like, there is some redundancy here. Oh, and buy spacesuits. Yeah, so I have 10 crew, so let's buy some more spacesuits. You're right. That'd be a good idea. Habitation. Five spacesuits. I'm also low on FTL charges, so buy some of them as well. So I'm broke. I have some stuff to sell though. I've got some scrap metal, it's not worth much. And metal ingots and frames, really not worth like $20. But it's taking up room, so I'm just gonna sell it anyway. Research has been completed. So the research for the reactor efficiency is done. That leads to smelter efficiency, laser mining, and deflector beams. And, okay, the music just decided to go, like, to 11. That's nice. But I can't get any of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get habitation, because I can afford it. Okay. So before I undertake the Wolf in Sheep's Clothing Part 2, let's do a basic combat mission. And before I do that, just in case something gets screwed up, Dream 1. Whoa, hello. Juno, I guess is your name. What's cool is you can look at the other ships. So, like, Juno here is like a non-combat ship. It has a bunch of thrusters, lots of storage, batteries, and massive fusion reactors. So it must just be like a long-distance hauler or something. So the battle stations button here next to your tactics is what has your people man weapons. So my battle stations have been enabled, so we're ready to like arrive shooting, because that's how you win. Just ask Greedo. And it looks like we have 2 hostile contacts. So we enter the tactics screen, and the tutorial will like engage here. Here we go. Now we're going to learn to deploy our weapons for combat. The game has been paused for now. Your crew will run to weapons to deploy them. Gatling guns don't require any crew to deploy, because Gatling guns are like point defense. The gun barrels will extend when they arrive. When the barrels are fully extended, they're ready to fire. So as you can see, they're all ready to fire. Well done. Alright, so what I want to do is, in the tactics, I still have it paused. If we mouse over the forward cannons, we can see they're firing arcs and ranges. And I'm going to want to rotate the ship to point towards the enemies. And then I'm going to hold left shift to select all the forward cannons and have them aim specifically at one of the weapons on one of the enemies. Breaking enemies' weapons is going to level the playing field for our survival. And here we go. Boom. 4% damage, 8% damage, 11, 15% damage, 16. And I'm going to ignore one of the scavengers in lieu of destroying the other one. And if we also want to prevent it from retreating, running away, we can also hit it in the engines. And you can see the enemy's logistics drones that we're firing on. Gatling gun to Gatling gun, ship fights. And we're down 2%, they're down 26%. And our cannons are still reloading. Okay, 42, 49%. And I'm going to tell my forward cannons to auto-fire, because they're sort of spinning, so it's going to be really hard to hit stationary targets, like a single point on their ship. Now that they're down, I'm going to rotate the ship. Now, this enemy ship is like... I'm going to throttle up. This enemy ship is like trying to take out our engines. So I want to get moving to increase our evasion. And there we go. Now we're against the other scavenger. And yeah, I think you could probably imagine if I did not have 4 cannons for this, this would be a rough fight. And this is like a level 1 fight. Granted, it's without like a lot of armor and deflectors and stuff like that, but still. Alright, now we're hammering them with our cannons. Die. We are out of bullets for the Gatling guns entirely, but we have 44 shots left on the cannons, which is fine. They're at 97% damage, so they're done. Contract complete. Now, some of the damage on our deck will be repaired by our crew. So you can kind of see these floorboards getting sort of like realigned, which is like the partial fixes. I'm going to deactivate the battle stations so that the crew can go back to doing other things. And now we can scavenge the wreckage for stuff worth grabbing. Right? So docking ports, fuel, water, processors, railgun slugs. Railguns are like longer ranged cannons with slower rate of fire, like sniper rifles, whereas cannons would be like shotguns. Something akin to that. Most of everything else in this debris field for these two dead hostiles seem to be just like scrap metal. So let's go ahead and head to NG-11 ship, or actually NG-14 shipyard. Repair our ship, sell the stuff we don't want, and then commit to Harkin's mission. The floor being misaligned is a funny way to... You can think of the floor being misaligned is not so much like the damage as it is like hull damage. But yeah, it is a funny way to depict it. For sure. Alright, trade. Sell the 2 docking ports. Scrap metal, processors, scrap metal. And then we are going to want to buy... No, not cannons. We're going to want to buy cannon shells and bullets. Food is fine. Water and oxygen are fine-ish. Yeah. So I'm letting our logistics drones and crew repair some of our hull, rather than to pay the shipyard to do it. Because it seems like the logistics drones and the crew are handling most of the repairs. I'm also going to expand cannon shell storage. So we store a lot more cannon shells adjacent to the guns. And we'll do the same with bullets. Because there's no other place that I want those munitions anyway. So now if we look at our ratings, we are combat rated 2, industry 0, humanitarian 2, logistics 2, and trade 3. Our hull is all the way up. Also installed some armor in the front. In the editor. There. So that the front of our ship, which is probably going to get pummeled the most, is a little bit better armored now. Okay, I think we're all set for Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. So let's rendezvous with Harkin. And in the atmosphere overlay here, as now you can see, the CO2 is built up to about 2% because we disabled the scrubber. The scrubber doesn't have a tank to feed to. And at about 10% CO2, we're going to get a warning that it's becoming fatal. You can manufacture just about everything in this game. From mined resources and salvaged resources. Thank you for coming, Captain. We have been attempting to track the pirate vessels down, but to no avail. We keep arriving at the scene to find destroyed ships with no trace of the pirates. We need you to... Captain, this is Amelia Riker of the UMC vessel Orion Sentinel. We are under attack. They appeared out of nowhere and fired us without warning, and won't respond to any of my communications. I'm trying to hold them off, but I need help. My engines are damaged. Ship systems have failed. Please hurry. I have 40 crew on board. This is an urgent humanitarian rescue mission. If we respond to this quickly enough, we may be lucky and find the crew we can rescue. You need to acquire at least 4 maneuvering thrusters, which I already have, to dock with Riker's ship. Time is running out. Send a ship out to the Orion Sentinel to provide whatever aid you can before it's too late. Alright. Here they are. And we are immediately jumping. There's the pirate ship. The unidentified pirate. Captain, thank goodness you're here. Help us. We won't last much longer. And they're a class 4 pirate, so they're not messing around here. But we're doing what we can. Get it. Get it. Shoot that bully up. Oh yeah! How's that feel? Yeah, your starboard guns or port guns. Oh yeah, bye-bye. Coward. Alright. Battle stations off. Looks like they turned and ran when they saw you arrive, Captain, but my ship is on the brink. The reactor won't hold out much longer. To rescue my crew, you'll need to close in and initiate docking procedures. Use your maneuvering thrusters to align your docking ports with ours in tactical mode, and we'll get ready to evacuate. Okay. You got it. Oh, shoot. They're moving a little bit. Oh, why doesn't it want to dock there? Oh, I know why. That part of their ship is blown up. That docking port does not exist. Time to switch. Sucks to be you. So you can't line it up like that. Like that isn't valid. Right? So this is another situation where 2 docking ports is really nice because I don't have to rotate the ship 180 degrees to dock to the other side. Boom. The reactor is reaching critical levels, Captain. I can't stop it from overloading. I'll try to buy you a few more seconds, but it's going to go critical any moment. Get to a safe distance as soon as you can. Save my crew. Okay, there is a lot of debris here. Some of it actually looks interesting, so I'm not going to leave just yet. Well done, Captain. Your intervention prevented a further loss of life. And now we know the pirate vessel is crewed by cowards, a fact that we intend to use to our advantage. In the meantime, take the survivors to the nearest shipyard or colony and drop them off there to close the contract. I will after I loot. So here we go. CO2 is now at 7%. Because I have 40 of their crew on our ship, CO2 is going to ramp up even faster. And I'm going to wait until it gives me the, like, hey, CO2 is reaching fatal levels warning. It's a little weird that CO2 and oxygen are in separate levels. It's basically like oxygen is being supplied to the ship at 99% coverage. And CO2 is covering the ship at 8% coverage. So it's not trying to add up to 100%. But that threw me through a loop at the start. I was like, why is my oxygen at 99% and my CO2's at 10%? It's like, that's not how percentages work. Which, honestly, yes. It was super confusing. Research for habitation is done. So let's get, logistics, I suppose, to be able to make stuff. Because I don't have a science computer. Maybe at some point we'll get a science computer. And there we go. There is a dangerous buildup of CO2 inside your ship. If it reaches 100%, your crew will suffocate. Consider buying a CO2 scrubber and connecting it to a storage tank. So that is the warning that I was referring to. So now I will connect that up. And we'll see CO2 levels are now 9%, and it's going to be dropping because we're actually collecting it. The other thing to note is up here in the top right, see that little like warning symbol over Scorpio? So the game allows you to own as many like ships as you want, and anytime there's an issue with a ship, like it's running out of food or water or oxygen or CO2 or fuel or whatever, it will throw warnings, allowing you to manage multiple ships pretty easily due to that feature. So our CO2 levels are down to 6% from 10%, so the scrubber is scrubbing. It's gathering 6 CO2 per second and storing it in the tank. And then if you zoom in on the tank has like a level here. So as that fills up, the tank has its own like physical indicator. And the same is true of the fuel. So like this is our fuel. So this fuel tank is only a little over half full. And then our oxygen is only like a 10th full. So we could definitely buy more fuel and oxygen next time we're at port. All right, looks like we have a lot of cargo, so I'm going to add more cargo here and here. And all the cargo that we have left here is like junk, more or less. So I'm just going to jump. So I'm going to jump to a shipyard to repair the hull damage that we took, because not all the hull damage could be repaired by our drones. Thank you for tuning in to The Last Starship, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow admirals.